No, you're not hearing me. I want you to check his shoes for gunpowder residue. I, I, I don't know why that's a thing we need to do, but the great detective Hayato Higure, the fantastic genius who solved the Arima family murders and the secret locked room of Shinpo Island or whatever it was, said that's a thing we should do to solve the case. And you know how the department gets when we don't listen to detectives, even if they don't work for us. Okay? Okay. Thank you. Oh god, you all are here already. Welp, I've only got an hour for lunch. We should get this over with. Hello, people of the internet. My name is Mitsuda Madoy. I'm a forensic scientist. And I'm so very tired. I imagine you all are here to learn a bit more about me, so how's about we move over and start just taking a look at that PowerPoint already? Behold, it's gray, like my soul. So my name is Mitsuda Madoy. You can see I did not think to prepare a pointer for this, but if you look up at the top, you can see I do have an official Japanese reading of my name, as you'd probably hope from someone like Mitsuda. I actually took the name Mitsuda Madoy from two authors. Shinzo Mitsuda, the author of Horror Detective Genya Tojo, the Writer Trilogy Death Phase Detective, and Von Madoy, a light novelist whose works include Revoire, the Kyoto Seasonal Mystery Solving Report, Sherlock Note. Neither of those works are available in translation, so I imagine that information does not improve your life any. My age, I'm 23. I'm not a 100-year-old monster boy. I'm not keeping it a secret for some reason. I'm 23 years old. I was born 23 years ago. That is, of course, rather young for a full-time professional scientist. But it's also very old for an anime character, so I think it all balances out. My birthday, my date of birth is June the 7th. That is also the day Ellery Queen, my favorite classic Golden Age mystery novelist, made his literary debut with the release of the Roman Hat Murders. Or at least I really hope it is. I really hope that information is accurate, because if it winds up being wrong, I'm gonna feel very silly. I'm 182 centimeters tall. That works out to about 6 foot even in what have ironically been dubbed freedom units, even though they're properly referred to as imperial units because they literally originate from a monarchy. Gotta love the irony. I do not speak any language other than English. I'm sorry, I'm more disappointed than you are. And of course, everybody's favorite part of any VTuber debut is learning lore. More lore than a Dark Souls game over here, folks. I am a forensic scientist from the world of mysteries where all works of mystery fiction take place. I don't actually know how I got here to your world. I probably should have answered that before I decided to write all this lore. Not too late for regrets. Well, as a forensic scientist working in the world where every work of mystery fiction ever written takes place, I was constantly swamped with endless amounts of evidence in need of analysis and processing, from bizarre locked room cases, false alibis, nonsensical dying messages, all the while being tossed down to by those smug, great detectives. In my desperation to finally get some time off, I finally did something I probably should have done a while ago. I looked at my employment contract. There I discovered a loophole. I can finally get some vacation days if I could only get a second job. So I looked up the least demanding thing I could legally pass off as work, and I discovered the world of VTubers. And I was never the same. It was very tragic, I assure you. Next up on the agenda is what we like and dislike. My likes. Mystery fiction. I mean, obviously, right? Like, I'm a VTuber, and I decided to pass up being an Ikemen demon boy, or a knight in shining armor, or a little deity, so I could be some guy in a lab coat who solves murders. You don't do that if you aren't a complete mystery freak. I also like JRPGs. JRPGs are what really got me to gaming generally. I love the Tales series, I love the Trails series, I love Final Fantasy. Kai, hey, aren't you TP today? Thanks for showing up. Yes, hello. Kai is debuting in about an hour if I've done my math correctly, so I appreciate you poking your head in. Okay, that completely derailed me where I was at. JRPGs, I like them. Another thing I like? Noodle. I like noodles. I especially like noodles served in white sauce with seafood. Like shrimp or oysters. It's my favorite food. Or at least it's my favorite food that you eat with a meal, because I have a massive sweet tooth. I mean, when you live the lifestyle I do, you need any energy you can get your grubby little mitts on. I also like retro stuff, not just retro games. I mean, I do like retro games, but that's not unique enough to be worth bringing up as a specific unique point on your debut PowerPoint. No, I also like retro gaming magazines, I collect demo discs, I like watching old commercials, stuff like that. I love researching old games. I love going back and seeing how people at the time reacted to Donkey Kong Country or Tales of Symphonia when they were new and fresh. And somehow it's just it's so inspiring, isn't it? Yeah, Kai, you get it. And I like Shakespeare. I am an honest-to-God devotee of the Bard. My favorite play is Hamlet. Sometimes when I'm feeling like a hipster, I don't want to give the obvious answer. I'll say it's Timon of Athens, but in my innermost of hearts, I know it's Hamlet. And lastly, I love rain. I love the smell of rain. I love the sound of rain pitter-pattering on your windowsill. I love the fact that every time it rains, all the roads wind up flooded and the crime scenes are cut off so I don't have to go outside to go to work. Yeah, rainy days are the greatest. But for every light, there is a shadow cast. And for every list of likes, there must be a list of dislikes. And I dislike mystery facts. Mystery fiction means I get to curl up at home with a good book and don't want to take off my pajamas. Mystery fact means I have so much to do. Mystery fact means unpaid overtime. Similarly related, I dislike murderers. And I hope you do too. And I dislike phantom thieves, those smug jackasses. What, you think just because you don't stab people all that often, that means that I don't have to... Phantom thieves, parenthesis derogatory. God, you set off a dye packet in the lobby to block out all the cameras, and you know what? I gotta wipe all that off myself so I can take samples. Just in case. Next time you're about to... Yeah, my finger slipped. Next time you're about to... I appreciate that, Walter, thank you. I just like being overworked. Fairly self-explanatory. And I dislike horror fiction. Now, a majority of the time when you see a VTuber list horror on their dislikes category, it's because they scare easily, they take jump scares very hard, they get very anxious. I'm actually the opposite of that. I just don't vibe with a lot of horror. It doesn't really get to me. I just don't see the appeal of works of horror. I don't begrudge people who do. They're clearly getting something out of it that I'm not, and I don't blame them for that. I think it's very inspiring. But it's just not my thing, you know? Now, spicy food, I did list that because I'm a spice baby. I'll just own up to that. And probably the most surprising thing on this list, coffee. I do not like the taste of coffee. Now, I'm sure some of you are sitting there thinking, wait a minute, Mitsu, if you don't like coffee, but you have severe overwork problems, then how do you function in day-to-day life? Now, chat, let me tell you. It's spite. Pure, raw, elemental spite. Yes, Boro, exactly. Anyway, let's talk about anime. Now, I'm kind of an anime slut. I'll watch anything if you can convince me that it sounds interesting. But the three central pillars that hold up my existence are mystery anime, obviously, mech anime, and, maybe it's so surprising, romantic comedies. So, mystery anime, I like the big two. I like Detective Conan. I like the Kindaichi case files. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I'm cooler than I am. I also really like Hyoka. Hyoka is not a murder mystery, but in a way that's kind of more inspiring. Shows how you can find entertainment and excitement in just, everyday activity. And I listed this as an anime because it has an anime, and I've never seen a VTuber who had a favorite books section on their debut. But the original light novel series, Zadagoto, is my favorite work of fiction ever crafted. It's mysterious, it's evocative, it's creatively written. You know how a lot of series have protagonists that are relatable and they bring that up like a good point? Zadagoto has a protagonist who's relatable in a way that makes me want to go take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask if I really like what I see. I cannot recommend it enough. It's so good. It's so creative. Over on the rom-com pillar, I'm a big fan of Nozaki-kun. Kashima is best girl. I am not taking questions at this time. I really like Kaguya-sama. And not really a romantic comedy, but certainly very romantic and very heartwarming and emotional. Romeo and Juliet, but it's the anime, and the "and" is spelled with an X, and, anime titles. The one where I got Taliesin Jaffe to write the dub, and he did most of the script in iambic pentameter just because he's a big show-off like that. And over on the mech anime pillar, I started with Eva, which should tell you the sort of series I like. I also really liked Odeka 7. And I'm a big fan of almost everything with the word Gundam in the title. I really like IBO especially. I do prefer more of the real psychological, sort of intense series, but you know, I'm not too good to watch some Gundam Wing occasionally. Or some G Gundam. Now over on the favorite games pillar, I'm guessing like 8th. Yeah, 8th team is really good. Most of the like 1 Year War side stories are really good. War in the Pocket's good too. Thunderbolt, I mean Thunderbolt's not the best, but I didn't dislike it. Over on the games pillar, surprise, surprise, I like Ace Attorney. I shout objection in the court sometimes. Saying AO. I can't think of anything that rhymes with AO that involves Ace Attorney. Tales was actually my first JRPG, the PS1 version of the original Tales of Phantasia. And it just... Maybe it's just because I was young and less jaded, but it got to me so hard. I could not believe games could be that good back then. Art in Alico is an obscure game, comparatively, but it's very good. It's very emotional. It's got an incredible amount of, like, creative, like, customizability. Not just, like, in the item crafting sense, but, like, in the way you can really finely maintain every single playable character's, like, stats and progress. Plus, sometimes you can charge up a Spirit Bomb for 15 turns and then do 5 digits of damage with a basic attack, and that's always fun. The only reason I don't go on saying that Deltarune is my absolute favorite game of all time is because it's technically not finished, and that would feel wrong. It's a fantastic game as is, though. I'm a big fan of Frogwares' Sherlock Holmes games. By my reckoning, Frogwares is probably the best mystery studio operating out of Japan, like outside of Japan. They're very good at really capturing the feel of, you know, the classic Sherlock Holmes stories. Their Holmes is always very in character, their Watson is always very in character. But it's tied up in some unironically very good mystery plotting, which you do not often get from, you know, people just writing trends and licenses. Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments is, by my reckoning, the single best mystery game ever developed by a non-Japanese studio. Ever. Lastly, Kid Icarus Uprising was my comfort game when I was still in high school. When the weekend came, I would blaze through my homework as quickly and sloppily as humanly possible, and then just play Kid Icarus Uprising nonstop for 40 hours straight. That was a game that never, ever, ever got boring. So that's the game list. So the last thing on this slide is Il Musico. Boro, you heard the post-credit sequence. We're gonna have to wait 25 years first. Anyway, music. I really like the Pillows. The Pillows being the classic rock band who soundtracked Fooly Cooly, not any other The Pillowses you may have heard of. Classic rock in general I really like, but the Pillows in particular stand out to me because they're very, I don't know, chiller, I guess? They're very relaxing mood music, as you'd probably expect from the Fooly Cooly soundtrackers, but, you know. Yeah, comfy's a good word for it. They're the sort of thing you put on when you're curling up in bed during your last 15 minutes between when you get home and when you finally pass out from exhaustion. Akatsuki Records are a Toho cover band, one of the billion odd of those that exist in the world. But they stand out to me because they're very creative. Stack is also an important part of it. Their lead vocalist, Stack, for those of you who haven't heard, has the most powerful voice in the world. But also they do like a lot of different genres. They've done rock, they've done extreme heavy metal, they've done extremely peppy J-pop, they did one sideways glance into Irish folk music, which was very weird, but also extremely good. Ferry is a Vocaloid producer, the only Vocaloid producer I still really actively follow. And his lead project right now is Parties Are for Losers. Well, I say his. I kind of default to that. We don't actually know what his gender is. They keep it secret on purpose, which, you know, respectable. Anyway, Ferry is the author of Parties Are for Losers, which is an ongoing, like, story song series, which is heavily based on the lore of the movie version of Stalker. It's an incredibly bizarre concept, but it's nothing but bangers. I'm a big fan of Demon Dice. Actually, I am a child of the streaming generation. Demon Dice is the only artist I have ever, like, actually specifically spent money to own an album from. That's how much I love her. She is a talented lady, and I'm glad she seems to have found success. And lastly, I live on the internet. I listen to Neil sometimes. We all know what's up. So I did basically nothing for this channel on my own, so let's talk about the people who actually work for a living. First, and probably most importantly, my art, the model that you are looking at right now, was drawn by Lin Rinku, who was an absolute dream to work with. I cannot draw at all. My art is worse than sketch on the back of a cocktail napkin quality, so I did not actually have a visual reference of any sort to prepare to give Lin when I started writing. I just gave them like 3 bullet points worth of character details and just said, you know what, just go nuts and I'll critique it when it's done. And then I didn't critique it when it was done because this was first draft, baby. Lin's extremely talented. If you want a PNG, Lin's your person. Look at this art. Look at those fish. These fish look better than I do. The black shirt was his idea. I had very little prepared. Yeah, what I originally, like, recommended, I had this vision of just, like, this solid, just, like, black t-shirt, and Lin was the one who decided to give it some additional detail with the button up. It was a fantastic idea. My background, my laboratory background, was drawn by one Leonard O. Also occasionally goes by Leo Chin, depending on which service which, like, social media site you're looking on, but when I asked, he said he wanted to be credited by his Instagram account, and his Instagram account is where I got the commission from. So that's what I have included the link to here, and in the section below. Background's also very good, and Leo turned it around in like a week and a half, which is an insane turnaround time for an image this detailed. I'm also a big fan of the bag of chips on my desk. Appreciate that he didn't leave me to starve. Now, this is a Twitch channel, so I will be streaming games at some point. And I am in possession of two, actually. I am in possession of two gaming overlays. One of them was developed by Fumiko Hoshi, one of them was developed by Argama Witch. I will be switching between them depending on the scale of the game I will be playing. Fumiko and Argama both release lots of free VTuber assets in general. It's very nice. You should give support them if you can. My schedule template, you will be seeing that later, was developed by Zixia TV. Again, it was free. Again, Zixia is a charitable soul. And the transition that you saw when we switched from the stream start to the end to my just adding laboratory room thing where I exist was done by Gale Level. The BGM, which you all should still be hearing, but looking at my audio mixer, I think I turned it down a bit too low. Can you all hear that properly? Or the sound? Probably should have asked this sooner. Are the sound levels still good? Do you need me to turn it up any? If nobody says anything, I'm going to assume it's okay. The background music playing right now is Orbital number 2. Okay, good, it's good. The background playing right now is Orbital number 2, which was originally composed by Noru_with_piano for Dover Syndrome, the same service. Okay, yeah, that's what I was concerned about. How about this? Yeah, I turned it down, but I guess I moved my finger a bit too far. Okay, the music playing right now was composed by Noru with Piano for Dover Syndrome, the free background music service for VTubers that is also used by Hololive and Niji, and basically everyone else who is in the habit of using background music in their streams. Without all of these people's charitable souls and incredible talent, I would be streaming with no camera, and no background, and no overlays, and none of you would have shown up. Thank you, all of you. I appreciate your efforts very much. So I use Twitter sometimes. I will be honest with you, I don't entirely understand what all of these hashtags mean, but people have them. So, my stream tag will be Mitsu Stream if I ever figure out what a stream tag is and why people use it. Wouldn't you just pin your schedule to your profile? What's the point of even having free schedule templates if you're not, whatever. In the extremely unlikely event I ever get any fan arts, I would appreciate the tag Mitsuda Arts. Because I'm very funny like that. And lastly, the memes, Jack. The DNA of the soul. Mitsuda starts with an M, meme starts with an M, our tag is Mitsu Meme. And I guess we do need a fan name. This isn't a hashtag, but I didn't know where else to put it. Your fan name is Lab Guys, you're all Lab Guys now. You work here now, I'm sorry this is how you had to find out. The lab codes are off in the back. The fingerprint record in the corner. Yeah, I'm gonna need that done by about 5 PM today, or we're gonna have to let the Boston Reaper go free. I'm sorry this is how you had to find out, but get to work. Come on, strike it. Well, if it were that easy, I would have done it already, Boro. So, this is a stream channel. What the hell am I looking at? Well, first, and most obviously, I want to play mystery games. Being the mystery-themed VTuber is kind of my gimmick, I figure I should probably lead into that occasionally. So, yeah. I did list JRPGs as my likes, so I should probably play those at some point. Those will be very long and involved endeavors, but, you know, maybe that'll be a good thing. Maybe it'll be nice to have something to take my mind off of things. Retro games are nice because they're old, so people get less touchy if you play them on stream sometimes. Watch-alongs and media reacts, I just like the idea of, like, you know, being able to just sit down and watch movies with friends, or watch, you know, dumb YouTube videos with friends. Because, I mean, you know, if you're gonna do it anyway, may as well involve someone else. Other retro game stuff, I admit I have not put entirely all that much thought into how they'll work, but, like, if I could do commercial watch-alongs, or if I could, like, stream myself reading a magazine that's fallen into the public domain, like an old issue of Atari Force, or maybe EGM. I don't know if there's any EGM that's old enough to have fallen into the public domain, but you know, the general idea. Demo discs, this is a related idea, but I love demo discs. Side streams, will I be using SciTube? Don't know if you've been around for the SciTube streams for it, but will you be using it for watch-alongs? Maybe, maybe. It depends on what I wind up watching and what I wind up using it for. Probably I have... you know, I do already have an account. I have familiarity with the service. Yeah, demo discs. I do own a complete collection of the GameCube demo discs already. I am a collector in that way. So, you know, that'll be something to look forward to. And lastly, and probably most ambitiously, I'd maybe like to do some kind of VTuber book club. Like, this is another very half-baked idea I'm not entirely sure if I could go into yet, but, like, I know so many mystery novels that deserve more attention and more knowledge than they get. So, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just say, hey, this is this week's book, and we'll do 3 chapters a week or so, and then at the end of the week we can all have a stream where we get together and talk. Maybe it'll be fun. Maybe... Walter, I dearly wish I could, like, just straight up do reading streams on stream, but I'm pretty sure that would get me in copyright trouble. If I go through with this, I will make a deliberate point to only include a book that would, you know, be cheaply and easily available through, like, e-reader services and such. You know, I think about you all pretty much all the time. So don't worry. So, where there is a service, where there is a stream, there are goals. And it's important to have goals, even if you don't necessarily believe in them. So what is my first goal? I would like to use this channel to promote the spread of fair play mystery stories. If I never get a red cent from this channel, or I never get any attention whatsoever, if I get absolutely nothing to show for this, but the attention I bring winds up increasing the number of Japanese mystery stories that get translated, inspires more people to get into producing mystery stories of their own, I will consider this channel a success. I don't know how I'd accomplish any of that without getting attention, but if it happens, it happens. My second goal is to make Twitch affiliate. I'm told that's very easy, so it might even be within my abilities. I would like to get 1,000 followers. I was originally going to say 100 followers, but I kinda wound up making it most of the way there before I even debuted, so yeah. I don't really know how that happened either. I would like to actually finish a game for once. It's been a very, very long time since I pulled that off. Yeah, but a big part of the reason I started this channel is actually so I could just tie myself down and make an obligation out of actually taking some time to do stuff I like, because I haven't had time to do that lately. And last, and most definitely least, as a half-baked pipe dream, less of a goal, more of a fantasy. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm not saying I believe it's possible. But if I ever get into a position where I could do this full-time instead of working myself to death here in this laboratory, I'm gonna take it. Hello, Pokelink. You're just in time to watch me finish my PowerPoint. Okay, so now you all know a little bit more about me, about what I'm about, and why I'm doing very well. Okay, like, thank you for asking. I appreciate the thought. So now y'all know a bit more about me, about what I'm about. Now the question of the hour is, where do we go from here? Well, behold, I give you my first schedule. Today is Thursday. On Thursday, I will be debuting. Wait a minute. That's already happened. Linear time has passed us by. Mein Gott. Okay, I will be taking Friday off. Friday is generally a pretty big release day for mystery, like, serialized stories, which means it's also a pretty heavy work day for me, and then when I get home, it's laundry day, so, you know, don't expect Friday streams from me. Ever, really, unless I get very lucky with getting time off. But on Saturday and Sunday, we will both be doing game streams. They will be our first two game streams. We will be starting our first main game, and we will be starting at the same time this stream started, at 2 o'clock p.m. EST, or whatever that works out to in your time zone. That will be just my general, generic time starting. If I did not specify otherwise, assume a stream starts at that time. The week after that, I would be settling, I will be attempting to settle, assuming this doesn't wind up being too terribly hard on my throat, into a schedule of Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays, always at 2 p.m., always trying to go at least, like, an hour and a half, preferably 2 hours, but my schedule might get in the way. And that is where we will settle in, and if that winds up being not as bad as I expect, we might do more streams. If that winds up being too hard, we might have to dial it back a while. And I see Pokelink is ahead of us as usual. Now that we know when we're streaming, the question of the hour is, what are we streaming? Our first game stream will be excuse me, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 is a fully open world detective game with third-person shooter sections, developed by Frogwares, detailing the first ever adventure of some detective. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, and I goes by the name of Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. As I mentioned during my PowerPoint, I'm a big fan of Frogware Company, and this is the first Sherlock Holmes game okay, it's not the first Sherlock Holmes game they owned that I never played, because every Sherlock Holmes game is a game I didn't play until I played it, but this is... I will be playing completely blind. That is the series of words I am attempting to string together right now. And also, for those of you who didn't know, this game does feature a Twitch add-on specifically for this game, which will allow you, the viewers, to democratically vote on investigatory paths. I reserve the right to ignore you, because I'm the professional here, but it will give you all the option to make your voices heard. I'm very excited to see where they wind up going with this. Sure. I'm very fond of detective games, but I don't really have a lot of experience with shooters, so we might wind up completely embarrassing ourselves. But you know what? That's just a risk you take when you get out of bed in the morning. So, that's me. That's where we stand. That's about the limit of what I had planned for today. I know it was a bit short and absent of hype for a debut stream. I didn't really intend for this to be like a big event. I intended it to be, you know, a debut. I wanted this to be something quick, something dirty, something to help let you all know like where I am, what I'll be, what I'm doing. Something new people new to the channel can check in, look at the VOD on YouTube, and, you know, just know what we're doing, so they can just jump right in. Alright, I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I hope we see you this weekend for more Sherlocking. And now that we're done here, the time has come to reveal my signing off catchphrase, which is... Excuse me, one moment, chat. Yes, yes, hello? Hello? But what? What? The president of Hasagawa Financial was stabbed to death? In a locked room. Yep. Don't tell me the key's found in his back left pocket. Yep. Yep. Just call it experience, Chief. I'll be right over.